Hello guys, this is PushDustIn from Source Gaming, and joining me today is InfinityAlex.
Do I speak now? Yeah. No, it's fine. I've done this before. Hey, how's it going, everyone?
We'll restart that.
Oh, that was my joke. I fucked it all up.
Oh man.
What have I done?
It's awful now. We're done. Okay. Hold on.
I killed Source Gaming.
Hello. Hello guys, this is PushDustIn from Source Gaming, and joining me today is InfinityAlex.
Hey guys.
And today we'll be talking about if the next Smash should have a season pass for DLC. Now the last Smash, it kind of almost had a season pass. It had different packs that came out with content that about a year, almost a little over a year.
About a year, little bit over.
And we were wondering, should this tradition continue with the next Smash? So, Alex, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, before I give my opinions on that, there are some things to note. First of all, assuming we will get basically what is going to be Smash Deluxe for the Switch, which we don't know, it's not confirmed yet, but it's probably going to happen, let's be real.
Yeah. It
will probably follow in the footsteps of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and bundle all the previous DLC for its Switch port. So I just think that's important for people to know. So I doubt anyone will have to re-buy DLC when they buy a new copy. And also the main season pass for The Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U. The Legends of Hyrule Pass bundled content priced at $27.96 for only $19.99, which is about a 30% price cut. So that's the kind of thing we could be getting with the season pass. Yeah, I've never bought a season pass before, mainly because none of the kind of games I'm into have ever come out with that stuff. The only example I can think of being the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games, but I kind of hopped onto those too late, so yeah, I didn't buy into that. But anyway, I think that this would definitely have pros and cons for what it is, because first and most importantly, Sakurai has always stated that DLC has been something that's never been really planned for them. I mean, obviously they put the work into it and they have to talk about how it's going to go down, but as he said, it only started after the base game was finished, with the exception of Mewtwo, who was kind of this special one-off reward at the time for people who purchased both the 3DS and Wii U versions of the game.
Yep.
So with that in mind, it's difficult to say how much DLC would be in a season pass to Smash, because Hyrule Warriors, it had 4 paid packs in that one pass. Which had varying amounts of content, whereas Smash usually has a character, and in the Wii U version, the third-party newcomers had their own stages as well. And those are a little bit more...
In the 3DS as well.
Yeah, exactly. Those are a little bit more premium. They were a little bit higher priced.
Yes.
So it's difficult to say how much DLC would be in one season pass, and this would also make it difficult for whoever's behind pricing, probably Nintendo, to kind of evaluate how much a season pass should go for, because obviously they don't want to be cutting into their profits too much with this, do they? So
yeah, I think you highlighted kind of an interesting problem with Smash, and especially if Sakurai does come back for the next Smash, is that with DLC it was kind of made afterwards, so they probably couldn't plan how much DLC they were going to come out with.
I mean,
and especially with Corrin, I think they even stated that it was kind of like almost the last minute addition.
Yeah. Like the game itself, the DLC for Smash, Wii U and 3DS was very much a labour of love on the part of the team. And something else to note, it's unclear if the premium pricing of the third-party DLC was because it was third-party, or was because it had stages in there as well. So it's also difficult to say if third-party DLC will be included here, because obviously Smash is this big money-making machine, so a lot of third parties want to be involved in it. So I'm unsure whether they would be willing to. I mean, we don't even know if they get any money straight up from the third-party DLC, or whether it's just exposure for them and their products and their IPs. But
Yeah.
my point is,
I'm sure they have some sort of contract.
Yeah, there must be something. But my point is, it's difficult to conclude whether a season pass would include third-party DLC.
I see what you're saying.
So yeah, those are just some basic points out of the way. But in general, I think a season pass for Smash could work very well, because my first point is it allows them to expand the scope of DLC. So in Smash Wii U and 3DS, DLC has mainly paid DLC has consisted of characters and stages. And in the case of Corrin, that was a character with 2 music tracks and 2 additional trophies. In Bayonetta, it was, I think, obviously had the music track to the stage, but then you had the additional trophies of, I think he's pronounced Rodan, and that little kid who is very spoilery, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but anyway.
Sakurai doesn't care about spoilers.
But yeah, so what I'm saying is they can kind of broaden their scope because obviously they're going to sell DLC in single pieces as well if they do a DLC pass, if the game even happens. Massive asterisks here. We don't know if this is going to be a game that's coming out. It's very likely to happen, but we don't know, so just going forward, I think everyone needs to remember that. But anyway, so they would be selling DLC as its single components as well. So this would allow them to sell possibly new trophies as DLC, and new music as DLC, and maybe even new assist traits as DLC, though that's very that's obviously not something that we have any evidence for. That's just an idea that I have.
Well, I think if you look at the game, the way that's coded, I think it does allow the addition of items.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
So I think Smash for Wii U and Smash for 3DS were kind of made, they were made very compartmentalized, and it allowed for additions to be added very easily.
Yeah.
So that's why with modding has progressed so fast with these 2 versions. It's because it's very easy to add new content. And I think there's up to 100 character slots or something ridiculous like that.
If only.
Obviously, I don't think we'll ever hit that.
Just saying, everyone, Anna for Smash, make it happen. Tweet to Sakurai, tweet to Nintendo. You all know that we need this, but...
So I guess let's take a step back.
Yeah.
And do you think that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and if Smash for Switch follows in the steps of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, do you think those games should get DLC?
With Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they're marketing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, at least in the UK, is the biggest Mario Kart yet, which obviously it is. 48 tracks, a bunch of characters, all that stuff. So that's kind of packed to the rafters right now. But what Reggie has said is that there is one big experience each generation for these series. So there's one Mario Kart, there's one Smash, that kind of stuff. So it kind of casts doubt as to whether we will see completely new entries into the Mario Kart and Smash series on the Switch, or whether we will only get these deluxe editions. If we do only get...
But I was going to say, if you even with these deluxe editions, you could keep them fresh by adding new content on a regular
Yeah, this is what I was just
interval.
about to get onto. If they make these deluxe editions the platform for these series for the Switch, then I can totally see them doing new DLC for it, because that's a way to keep iterating on these obviously very successful projects. I mean, like we know the Wii U only had like a 13 million install base, but considering how much of that install base bought into Mario Kart and Smash, they are very successful for what they are. So I can see Nintendo wanting to iterate and to continue to build on these very successful games with DLC as a much more cost-effective and less labor-intensive way of pushing these to new audiences and raking in more money. So if they just go the deluxe editions, then more DLC is definitely something I see happening. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay.
Right. Yeah.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's Nintendo's best interest to keep these as kind of like a platform and to keep them fresh. I think if you have regular content, then people will stay engaged with the games a lot longer. I mean, Smash is a game that people play all the time. Even under the Wii, the Brawl had like the most amount of playtime on any game.
Yeah. And just going back to what I started on earlier about broadening the horizon with DLC.
Yeah.
People love the music in Smash. There is no argument about that. Smash has great soundtracks, and I think people would be happy to pay for remixes of songs that have yet to appear in Smash. So I think that's one direction they can go to DLC. But what I'm saying is, these season passes don't just have to include characters and stages. They can add more value by adding trophies and music and maybe assist trophies and stuff like that, really. So I think that's one direction.
Mii Fighter costumes.
Yeah, that's what I meant as well. That's definitely going to be happening in any DLC pack that would come to this theoretical Smash for Switch.
I know when we did our Mega Smash poll on Source Gaming with over 3,000 responses, I think most people wanted the characters and then stages for DLC.
Yeah,
but I don't think
people are always going to want characters first and foremost. But I think music...
I think they could still make money off of selling individual tracks, or it's such a cash cow for Nintendo. Because I think if you look at the Wii U's DLC performance, Smash broke all the records.
I'm really not surprised. If you smash, they will come.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hyrule Warriors had a few characters with a few items, and I don't know if they included new stages or not, but what I'm saying is they had this collection.
They included new adventure maps, and the adventure maps had new rules.
Okay.
Typically.
So yeah, what I'm saying is Smash could do a similar thing in having this variety of content in these packs in the DLC season passes. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that there. I do a lot of talking.
That's okay. I would say the only reason that I could see against it is that people don't want to pay more.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Or they don't want like a huge difference between the base game and DLC. I know there's a lot of controversy within the Smash community about allowing DLC characters in some tournaments, especially when they first came out. Obviously, now that they've been out for a while, it's a little bit easier.
I can't remember which tournament it was specifically, but I know that they wouldn't allow the characters. I remember specifically it was Lucas, because this tournament was going to happen just after Lucas had come out, and people wouldn't have had enough time to practice him is the main thing. So I think, if they just wait a few months, wait for the DLC to come in, that's fine. But looking at the general consumer base, looking past the competitive scene, I think people would be happy to pay for new content like this. But stuff like music and trophies would have to be very cheap. I don't think people want to pay any more than maybe a few pounds or a few dollars for maybe, say, 10 trophies of 10 music tracks. I think that's a good balance to strike there in terms of value.
Mm-hmm. I think the Mii Fighter costumes, they were pretty cheap.
Yeah. I think over here in the UK, the Mii Fighter costumes were about 66p per costume. I don't think that was with the helmet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they were very cheap, but they added up. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they added up quickly. Yeah.
And I think that could be how Nintendo gets people with DLC here, because if they keep getting in new music with Smash, especially new Sonic music, Smash Wii U had a drought of Sonic remixes. So if they just put out one music track for like 50p, people will buy a lot of them. It will make them major bank, and they will continue to rule the video game stock market on Smash DLC alone, and it will be wonderful.
Is there anything that you'd like to add before we wrap up this discussion?
Only that with what we talked about earlier with there maybe being third parties excluded from season passes, I think this is a perfect opportunity for DLC to focus much more on Nintendo's own IPs. So we could be getting maybe more characters from existing franchises, new franchises which haven't been to Smash before, and of course Anna from Fire Emblem. So I think it's... Whereas Smash Wii U DLC was about 50% third-party characters, I think Smash for Switch, the DLC there could be a lot more focused on first parties, and I think that'd be a very good direction to go in.
See, I think with DLC, I think it makes perfect sense to focus on the third-party characters, and that's because it's a lot easier to strike deals with companies.
Yeah,
and it's a lot easier to manage those contracts.
Definitely.
Also, with DLC, they need to be hype-inducing.
Yeah, they can definitely induce more hype with stuff like Cloud. Cloud came completely out of nowhere. It was a massive shock that he wasn't even leaked, and he sent the hype machine into overdrive, I think. But I think the angle with first-party DLC is that within Nintendo's own consumer base, that still generates a lot of hype. So, I mean, a new Metroid character, for example, that would still get in a lot of hype. Maybe certainly not as much as Cloud or Bayonetta or Pac-Man or Sonic or Mega Man or anyone like that. But Nintendo has enough big name IPs and franchises that they can put pretty much any of their bigger first party characters into Smash and it will still make hype.
I think going forward, I think Nintendo will do a little bit more promoting.
Yeah.
Like they saw with Corrin how successful that was.
Yeah.
And I think it would make a lot more sense to utilize Smash's position as a global game to really market their IPs, because that's what Nintendo's really focused on right now.
Yeah, as some explainers of games have said, this is a new Nintendo. This is a very confident Nintendo. This is Nintendo who has advertised a Switch at Super Bowl. So they are definitely looking to push their property much further than they had on the Wii U, or even as they have on the 3DS. So yeah, this is definitely going to be much more of a platform for advertising.
That's the tune that they've been singing for the past 2 years with all the investor meetings. Just the last week, I think it was, with the company book that comes out every year. That's handed to investors and people who work for the company or people who apply to work for Nintendo. It even says in there, we are focused on pushing our IPs.
Yeah, I mean, we have the mobile games, we have the bigger focus on advertising, and we have the Universal, we have Super Nintendo World coming, 2020 in Japan, I think it is. So yeah, they're definitely looking to push their IPs more.
Yeah, Nintendo wants to be on everyone's mind. And I think Smash is a great way to kind of show the newer characters that they're coming out with.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on the timing of Smash for Switch, if we got someone like Arm to promote Fire Emblem Echoes, for example, or someone from ARMS, or the Inklings for Splatoon 2, because Nintendo has, while there's not been too many launch games for the Switch, this whole launch window means Smash could be inserted just about anywhere, and it could still be this advertising platform for Nintendo games.
Yep. Oh yeah, exactly. I think that basically wraps up our discussion for today. So, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. You can find me in the Source Gaming Discord chat, which is always a fun place to be, and nothing ever gets taken out of context. And
nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
Liquid is never one of the meanest trolls you have ever met, who will make you question what the hell he is saying all the time. No, it's a fun place to be. Anyone who's not in the Source Gaming Discord chat, join the Source Gaming Discord chat. It's fun. You can talk to me. You can talk to Push. We have emotes. Also, probably not my place to do so, but definitely support Source Gaming on Patreon. I've always wanted to say that, because no one's ever going to support any Patreon I put out there, so support Source Gaming on Patreon. They do good work. Support them and continue to spread the truth that is Source.
the good water source. Well, I'm PushDustIn. You can follow me on PushDustIn everywhere on the internet, so look out for me. And subscribe to this channel for more news, discussions, and everything else.